Welcome to the Victorious Living Podcast. You're about to hear real stories of real people who have discovered the real hope of Jesus Christ. I'm Christy Overton Johnson, the founder and publisher of Victorious Living magazine. Since 2011, I've had the privilege of sharing the most amazing life stories. I never cease to be amazed at the life-transforming power of Jesus Christ. Today in our podcast, you're going to go deeper into these amazing God stories and hear from those who have overcome incredible odds and discover how they found a life of freedom. You can discover it too. I trust that you'll enjoy today's conversation between our host and our special guest. Thank you for listening, and be sure to share the hope you hear and the mission of Victorious Living.
Hi, I'm Randy Claypool with Victorious Living. I'm privileged to have Steve Watt with us today. Steve has an article in our magazine that goes out to the incarcerated and even to some folks outside the wall all over the United States and some additional places. Steve, it's great to have you here today. So were you called a police officer, or what was your actual title? Because I know in
I,
different states they call them different things.
yeah, I was a Wyoming Highway Patrolman back then. Now they're called Wyoming State Troopers. I prefer State Trooper, but we were called patrolmen back then.
I've never been to Wyoming. I understand it's a beautiful place, and then you live in Colorado, so I mean you're like in mountain country.
Yeah, yeah. Wyoming's wide open spaces, rugged, not a lot of people. Colorado's a real culture shock. I live in a suburb of Denver. Too many people for this ranch boy.
So, I mean, stepping aside from the highway patrol aspect, if I ask you, do you see a lot of wildlife? I'm really meaning like animals and such. Do you see that on a regular basis living out there?
In Wyoming, yeah. You see deer, elk, antelope, wild mustangs. In certain areas, you'll see moose. There's some buffalo that are running, free roamers. Here in Colorado, I see a fox run up and down my street once in a while.
I grew up in Pennsylvania, so and even other places, we were always careful to be watching for deer. But last year, I went up to New Hampshire with Christy Overton Johnson and Sheridan Correa, and gosh, I'm saying her name wrong, Sheridan. So she'll forgive me. But when we were leaving the last prison, man, it was way up there in the north. The chaplain said, "Now listen, watch out for a moose." Now, see, I know what it's like to hit a deer. I can't imagine what it would be like to be slamming into a moose. That would not be pretty.
No, it's horrible. A moose is so long-legged that they don't hit their body doesn't hit the front of the car and bounce off to the side. The legs come out from under them and the body comes through the windshield.
Wow. Yeah, that's not good. So,
And
hey, I
and
was vis
horses are the same way.
I
If you
was
hit a horse, they'll come through your windshield.
I was visiting with you a little earlier, just talking about today, and we agreed to take a break and fix our hair and stuff. I see you did a really good job with yours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have so much of it to style. Yeah.
Hey, brother, listen, it's great to have you today. So, you were a highway patrolman, right? And
Right.
and I'm saying that right. And how many years did you do that?
Well, I joined in 1979 and then was shot in 82. Made it 9 months, 10 months after that. I retired in 1983. So I wasn't in the patrol very long.
So, being in law enforcement like that, had there been, I mean, like, did you deal with gunfire or danger? What kind of dangers were normal for every day for your life?
It really wasn't very dangerous. Wyoming people are pretty laid back. Everybody's got a gun in their car. Um, you don't even think about the gun uh, because it's just there. Um, so it was, once in a while you'd get a stolen car or someone that was wanted for a violent crime. Interstate 80 running through Wyoming is a major highway, and so there's junk out there. There's drugs out there. There's, you know, you can pick up a bad person once in a while, but majority of the time you are helping people, investigating accidents, and enforcing the traffic laws.
So, I mean, so for the most part, you found a kind of a comfort zone.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
I would imagine there's a point where you're always staying sharp, but you didn't feel like your life was in danger every moment
No,
you went out there.
no. In fact, there'd only been one trooper that had ever been shot in the line of duty, and that was like in 45 years. I was the second trooper or patrolman that was shot in a 50-year span time of history of the Wyoming Highway Patrol. So I wasn't number one, but I was number two.
So, on this particular day of your story, if I remember correctly, you were not on duty.
I was scheduled to be on duty in the afternoon from 3 to 11. But I switched shifts with another trooper and
Okay.
came on duty at 7 to 3.
So you hear a call over the radio looking for a particular color car, a bank had been robbed, and you decide I'm going to go see if I can find that car.
Right. I was scheduled to go to a funeral that day. A city officer's son had died,
Hmm.
and so I was going to go to that funeral. And when I went looking for the bank robber, I had a half an hour, maybe 45 minutes to kill before I had to head for the funeral. So I went looking for him. I come across a little brown car, compact. Um, the driver fit the description, but the description was so general that I even fit the description. I was looking for a red sports car, and here was a little brown compact, and I decided to ask him if he had seen the bank robber. And when I pulled him over, I found the bank robber.
Wow. So you turned your lights on, little
Yeah,
siren just to get the car to pull over, and the car pulled over.
yeah, fast. He slammed on his brakes, so I was slamming on my brakes trying to get my car into park, and he was coming out of his door at the same time, and so I threw my door open because you never wanted someone to be out of their car and you still in yours. Well, I didn't even make it. He fired two shots into the windshield, and one round came through the windshield and hit me in the left eye, and then the second round ricocheted off the windshield over right around the mirror.
So lean a little forward and tilt your head for me. So you have no left eye.
Yeah,
It's
no,
gone.
it's gone. Yeah, totally gone. I used to wear a prosthetic eye, but it was so aggravating. Smoke, dust, perfume. It was dry all the time. Only have one tear duct. And when I reached a stage in my life where I didn't have to look real pretty, um, I just quit wearing them. I won't wear one now.
Well, I'm not going to touch on whether you're good looking or not. We're not going to go there.
You don't have to. I know it.
I'll let your wife take care of that. Oh gosh. I
uh,
am I read your story and I was just blown away by it. So I want to ask you some questions. I definitely don't want to get political, okay?
okay, I won't promise.
But you wanted to be a highway patrolman. That was something you wanted, like from a young age.
Oh yeah, from ever since I was 6, 7, 8 years old, we drove past an accident. There was a highway patrol car there, huge bubble lights they had back then, and that guy he was 10 foot tall and had on the coolest uniform, and he had a gun. It must have been that big. It was huge, and I'm going, man, that is so cool. That's what I want, and I always kept that in my mind.
So did you like have neighborhood kids or friends? You guys, growing up, we used to play cops and robbers. you know,
Mhm.
and that,
Yeah.
but I lived in a small neighborhood, kind of out in the country, and we'd have fun chasing each other and hiding, and so I guess that kind of thing was a part of your life. I mean, you were really looking forward to this.
Yeah. Well, we didn't have a neighbor. We lived 40 miles out in the country.
Mm.
I grew up on a cattle ranch. Uh, but, at recess at school and that, yeah, I'd always volunteer to be the cop.
So you pull this guy over. You think you're just planning to like say, "Hey, did you happen to see this other colored car?"
Yeah,
And
that's right.
like all of a sudden,
He's
just
shooting.
boom, 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 literally. I mean,
Yeah.
he's out, he's shooting at you. Did you feel anything when that happened?
Yeah, it felt like a hot rod was stuck in my eye. It went to the back of my eye socket, broke out the back of my eye socket. No bone fragments penetrated my brain. The bullet stopped a 16th of an inch from my
Wow.
no, uh, the thickness of a piece of paper from my eye or my brain, and I fell over in the front seat and screamed over my radio. I'd been shot. I'd been shot. In the meantime, he come back and my door was open and he leaned in and then he shot me 4 times in the left lower back.
What kind of damage did that do?
Well, one bullet hit me in the spine and stopped a 16th of an inch from my spinal cord. One bullet went clean through me and hit me in the liver, missed the major blood vessel in my liver by a quarter of an inch, and it ended up stopping right underneath my right rib, the bottom one. And then the other two bullets bounced around and ripped everything up inside the bowel, the intestines, the stomach.
So, okay, you're getting shot at here. Uh,
I'm
uh,
laying in my car on the front seat.
did you get any shots off?
Yeah, I did. He leaned in my car and grabbed my radar unit off the
Hmm.
dashboard and threw it out in the middle of the highway, thinking he was disabling my radio. And then he started running back to his car. And I got out of my car and I went to the front fender and I'm screaming at him to stop, to surrender. He gets in his car and I'm thinking to myself, you can only shoot in self-defense, and he has his back to me, running to get in his car, so I couldn't shoot him at that point in time. And then he gets in his car, and I'm thinking to myself, you can only shoot in self-defense, and he's not trying to leave the area yet, so you can't shoot him. And when his car moved, I went, aha, and I started shooting, and my first bullet hit that little metal bar in the headrest, right in the center of the back of his head, and it ricocheted down and hit him in the left shoulder, knocked him forward to the right out of the way of the next 5 bullets, which would have hit him in the chest cavity.
So you shot how many times?
6 times. My
Six.
first bullet saved his life.
Yeah, I was going to say, so if it didn't hit that bar,
I would have blown his head off.
wow.
Hmm.
What's his name, by
Don't
the way?
believe in God. I
Yeah.
should be dead.
What's
He
his
should be
name?
dead. What's that?
What's his name?
His name is Mark Corbett.
Mark Corbett. We're going to meet him later today and get his perspective too. This is just to me just such an amazing story. So he left.
Yeah, he drove off.
He shot. He left, and then help came.
Yeah, I got back into my car and screamed again that I'd been shot and I needed help. And then I started for the front of my car or the trunk of my car to get compresses out of my first aid kit. And I laid down right next to my car. I'm laying on my left side. I'm facing the car and I'm looking at the exhaust pipe. And my car's running and I'm sucking in exhaust. And I remember saying a prayer. I wasn't a Christian at this time. I was agnostic, I guess you would say. I believed there was a God, maybe, but I had no relationship with God or Christ. I said a prayer. I said, God, if I'm going to die, take care of my wife. Please help me. And he sent a truck driver And he come running up and said, "What can I do?" And I said, "Well, turn off my car before it kills me." So he turned off my car, tried to get my first aid kit. Another patrolman arrived at that point in time and started doing first aid.
You must have had some serious adrenaline pumping. I mean, you go down the list of things that you mentioned that were damaged. I can't even imagine that you were moving at that point, and to also recognize that you did the shooting after you were shot. So
Yeah.
that's just pretty amazing. That's maybe you should go on one of them survival shows.
No, thank you. No, thank you. I'd go on there to pray for all the contestants, but
So kind of fast forwarding a little bit, something really big happened, and you clearly felt with some anger, some depression, I'm sure, just the whole thing of going over, having to live life dealing with this physical situation. I mean, even though you survived, this went on and on and on and really disrupted your life.
yeah.
And did you feel anger towards him?
Oh, I was so angry, so hateful, so bitter. Um, there was nothing good in my life. No joy, nothing. And go down, Sammy, go down. I'm sorry.
That's Sam. We don't get to see him yet, but this is your special dog, Sam. So
Yeah, he's sensing something's going on, and
he's
in
right
my
there ready to
brain,
take care of you, isn't he?
yeah. And I didn't want him to come up and take care of that, but he may get to the point where he goes, "I'm not going to listen to you. You
What
made me." And
what if I was like to whistle and call his name? Would he like jump up or anything and give
no,
you a big old lick?
no, no. He'll stay there. He does act on his own when he senses my brain seriously out of whack, or if I want him to do something with my brain, I can say pause and he'll come up on me.
That's really, really special.
Yeah.
So, Steve, let's get back to the deep anger. And so
Oh
this went
yeah.
on. How long did this go on before you saw it?
I was so bitter. Uh, Even though they let me try to go back out on the streets once I got an artificial eye, I just couldn't get over it. And my wife, who was an atheist, she had a chaplain start riding with her, and he witnessed to her. And one night while we were in bed, she got saved. I didn't even know it. There was no bolt of lightning, nothing. There should be. God needs to put a little dramatic fireworks in this. Anyways, I quit the highway patrol or retired and found a job in another part of the state. And I drove down to Rock Springs to get her and take her to our new home. And we were driving around Rock Springs, and she said, I was baptized this morning. She never told me that. She says, I've been saved. And I said, well, that's neat. Maybe I need to be baptized. And she said, hold on a second. There's a little more to it than being dunked in the water. So we went to the chaplain's house, and he witnessed to me. He told me about I was a sinner and I needed saved. And it all made sense. It all fell into place. And I got on my knees and I accepted Christ right there in his kitchen. Now, it's supposed to be all roses, rose petals, and happy trails, bunny rabbits, and it wasn't. I still hated that man so bad. I had no joy, no nothing, and I called the chaplain. I said, "What's wrong with me? My wife has joy. She's reads the Bible, goes to Bible studies, and I don't want to." And he goes, "Have you forgiven the man that shot you?" And I said, "Of course I have." And he said, "No, you haven't. You're a liar." And I hung up on him. And a little while later, I called him. A few days later, I called him and said, "What do I need to do?" And he says, "Why don't you write the guy that shot you a letter and just tell him what's happening?"
Let me stop you right there. I want to
Okay.
ask you a question. When you said to him, yes, I have forgiven him. Were you really just, yeah, I forgave him? I mean, did
Oh
you
yeah.
really, at that point, you really hadn't forgiven?
Oh, I
It
hadn't
was it was
forgiven.
more of an internal thing between you
Yeah,
and God,
yeah.
whether or not you had forgiven him.
I paid lip service to it. You know, when you become
Okay.
a Christian, for you automatically there's forgiveness granted and all of that stuff. No, it that's not part of the roses and bunny rabbits along the path. Um, wouldn't. Yeah, so I paid lip service. I was lying. You know, I hadn't. Come on, pulse. I hadn't really forgiven
There's
him.
Sam. Hi,
There's Sam.
Sam.
Yeah, he's uh, he's getting some mixed signals, and this is what he does. And
There he goes.
if
He's
this
trying to
doesn't
calm you
work,
down.
he'll bite. I'm getting too excited. That's the problem. Eh, My other service dogs only took care when my brain went below normal. This one is so tuned in. He takes care of below normal and above. He doesn't want me excited.
Yeah.
And so he's going, you get her down here, and now he's gonna. It's not licking's not really working, so he's biting my fingers every now and then. And
He's like, look, Dad, get it straightened out. Calm down.
yeah, he's such an amazing dog.
Oh,
This dog is. He's good. He's very work oriented. He loves his job. When I have surgeries, uh, while we're waiting to go to the operating room, he lays between my legs,
mm.
and waits until they put me out. And then when they bring me into recovery, he gets up, lays between my legs, and licks and bites to keep my brain from going back to 1982 and
Wow.
the shooting. So let me see
1982.
if he's got my brain enough, and I can. Sammy, go down. Go down. That's a good boy.
I want to, before we wrap things up here, okay. So we've talked about the anger. I think
Mhm.
anybody listening to this, anybody reading your story, anybody just putting themselves in your shoes for a moment can understand that.
That's
And
right.
I think in this world today, there is a lot of anger.
Yeah. And
But
no
you,
forgiveness.
but you, man, I mean, from people who've been abused, and I know they have psychological, there's just so much they have to get over.
Yeah.
People who've been physically abused. So there's some comparisons there, but then it's you were shot and you've been injured and you've been dealing with this since you said 1982.
Two. Yeah.
So, okay, you decide, between you and the Lord, the chaplain, you've got to really forgive this person.
Right. And
Help help
I
all of us wrap our brain around that. How do you forgive somebody? It's one, people can't forgive somebody that just said something wrong to
yeah.
them.
Yeah.
There are
Or,
people who lose marriages, friendships, neighborhood relationships that get angry over the silliest thing.
it's a matter
And
of
words, we say words are like water that's spilled out. You can't reclaim them. But what you're talking about, Steve, is vastly different than that. You have a lifelong injury, and you're dealing with that, and you now realize that you're going to forgive this person.
I
Wow.
have to. It's a cancer. My hatred was a cancer. And and it's a matter of surrendering when totally, completely to what God wants. Without forgiveness, we don't have the Christian religion. Jesus died on the cross to forgive. And if I'm going to say I'm a Christian,
Hmm.
how can I do anything less than that? So I wrote him a letter, and I told him about my life, and invited him to join me in Christ's love in the Christian
Hmm.
family. And God just lifted this huge burden off of me. I actually experienced joy for the first time, really true joy in my life, the first time. And then a few months later, God said, I want you to write another letter. And I said, whoa, hold on a second, dude. Ain't going to happen, because you can't ask me to do that. And God just crushed me. My joy went away. I was so miserable. And I finally got on my knees and said, I will do it. And I wrote him another letter and said, I
Had
love you.
he given you any response to that first letter?
Oh yeah, yeah. We'd written letters back and forth. Yeah, and it wasn't friendship immediately. It was just getting to know each other. And that the next letter I wrote, the big one where God was crushing me, and I finally wrote it and said, I love you, Mark, and God gave me back my joy. Isn't that amazing? I mean,
How is he receiving this? I mean, the
he
first letter, when you said you forgave him, how did he receive that?
he was happy to know that I did, and that I wasn't no longer hateful, because I made sure he knew how much I hated him through newspaper articles and stuff. Um, and of course, I invited him to become a Christian. In every letter I wrote him, I witnessed to him and invited him to join me in the Christian family, and he wouldn't do it. And then finally, God said one time, I want you to go to this Christian revival at the prison and meet the guy. And I said, no. And God crushed me again. It only took me about 10 minutes to go, I'm going. And I went, and we saw each other across the gym floor, and we walked out in the middle, and everybody's watching, because everybody knew that the shooter and the victim were there, and they weren't worried about what was going to happen. The guards were, and I threw my arms around him and hugged him, and I said, God, I'm glad I didn't kill you. And he said, I'm glad I didn't kill
Mm.
you. And I thought to myself, I bet you are, sucker. You'd be on death row. And then I'm thinking, I have my arms around him, and I could kill him. I know how to kill him. I could break his neck, right? And I turned loose and went, oh, no, 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 no. I don't believe that anymore. I don't think that anymore. And so we talked all day long, and I shared the gospel with him and Christ and life, his life, my life. We had a great time, but he never accepted Christ that night when they had the altar call. Wouldn't have that been a great ending?
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Yeah. He didn't. It took like 22, 23 years of praying for him and witnessing to him before he accepted Christ. But just think, and me witnessing to him and praying, all the time. Every
Well, I
time I
mean, when
talk to him.
so when you were trying to witness to him and get him there for all of those years, did he,
Yeah.
was he just pacifying you, blowing you off, or just, yeah, okay, maybe
He,
someday? I mean,
he,
what was he saying?
he would say, I'm not going to pretend to be something that I don't believe.
Wow.
I have too much respect for you and what you believe. And I could accept that, but I wasn't going to give up. I never gave up. And that's one of the things I encourage people. Don't ever give up with your family and friends or anybody. Keep witnessing. Keep sharing the
Okay,
gospel with
here
them.
here's a question. This is kind of where I was going to go before, but so in law enforcement, your goal, your whatever we call it, how do you say that? Operating whatever. The whole plan there is help people, serve the community, put
Enforce law.
criminals in jail, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you know, how then do you feel about people who have committed a crime, have been judged, are paying their time? How do you feel about them getting out?
I don't have a problem with it. If they've reformed, if they've done the programs, they lead a clean life in prison. Uh, they follow the rules. I don't have a problem with them getting out.
I had somebody ask me the other day, about ministering to the incarcerated.
Uh-huh.
And and so it's important. We really do care about these people, don't we?
We should.
And and if you become a Christian, how do you not care for them, right?
It, yeah, it can still be really hard for someone whose mind isn't in the right area, right ministry, right, you know.
But
And I don't
Steve,
think.
your story, your story because you were law enforcement, I mean, it would still be an incredible story if you were just, somebody driving down the street and this happened to. But the fact that you were commissioned and you were doing your job to capture, to put a stop to or to capture someone who had broke the law, this person shoots you and then you end up forgiving them and now you're happy that after all these years, was it some 40 years that
42 years.
he is out of prison
Yeah.
and he became a Christian
Yeah.
and he's living for the Lord. How do you
Yep.
feel about that part of it?
Oh man, to me, it's so neat that I was able to be a part of of that aspect of his life, him coming to know Jesus. Um, Man, what nothing can be that awesome.
You know,
Yeah.
you know how the Apostle Paul, I think he says it this way: some plant the seed, some water
Yep.
the seed, some reap the harvest.
Yeah.
Seems to me in this situation, Steve, you had a lot to do with every one of those steps.
Oh, I got to take part in all three of them, and that is so cool, so awesome. Nothing is better than to witness to somebody and they accept Jesus, and they're going to heaven now. They're gonna eternal
Wow.
time.
I don't know
much-
how all of this is going to get edited down, but I'm going to be interviewing Mark and then we're going to get the two of you together. Okay? And I want to ask you some questions. I want our viewers and listeners to see the two of you together. So that's going to happen. But for now, I'm going to bring this part of our interview to a conclusion. And I'll put you on the spot, but you got a great mind. I can see that. What is a motto of your life? How old are you? Do you mind me asking?
I'm 70 years old, just turned 70,
Wow.
first part of January.
What do you, not only what do you live by, what motto maybe what motivates you, what keeps you going every day? And how can what would you like to say to those watching this and listening to this to just think about?
Oh man, never give up. Never give up sharing the gospel, witnessing for Christ, and look for opportunities. I wrote a lot of Christians tickets and nobody ever told me about Jesus. And I know they were Christians. It said so on the bumper stickers and they never told me. And if I would have died, I would have went to hell. Let there be no doubt. And so I leave the house and I always pray, God, if you want me to share the gospel with somebody, put them in my path and give me the words. And invariably, I'll be filling up with gas and telling the guy next to the other side about Jesus, So yeah, take every opportunity that God gives you, look for him, and then share the gospel. And you've said that this goes on and on and on. I'd like to ask all of your viewers to pray for me. I have to have another hernia surgery related to the shooting in 1982. And I just asked that they would pray for me. I've had 15 or 20 hernia surgeries in the last 4 or 5 years. So it's ongoing. I have a Christian surgeon, but I'd like to ask all of your viewers to stop and say a prayer for me right now.
Yeah, we're going to do that. And I promise you I will, Steve. But I got to tell you, man, you are the epitome of never quit, never give up, persevere. It's amazing. And God bless you. God bless you so much. And I pray that he gives you recovery. I pray he gives you health. And thank God for Sam. Thank God for your wife who take care of you. And praise Jesus, right?
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Praise Jesus. God, why should we give up? God never gives up on us.
Hey,
Look.
that's
He took Mark,
Yeah.
and he got Mark
Yeah.
because he wouldn't give up, and he got me, and he got you. Oh man, isn't this awesome?
Never quit, never give up,
Yeah.
and
Never give
God never gives up on you.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Steve, give me a thumbs up. Thanks, man. Thanks
You
for
bet.
spending time with me.
Thank you for watching our broadcast. Are you an incarcerated brother or sister who needs encouragement? Write to us at Victorious Living Correspondence, P.O. Box 2751, Greenville, North Carolina, 27836, or email us at hope@vlmag.org. To view Victorious Living magazine in its entirety, please have your chaplain contact us at 352-478-2098 or email us through our website at vlmag.org. We are happy to provide our Victorious Living magazine free of charge in bulk with or without staples.